Welcome. So good to see you all here. My name is Jessica Gaines. I serve as the program coordinator here at Green Acre, Bahá Center of Learning. We are located, our physical campus is located in Elliott, Maine, on the banks of the beautiful Piscataqua River. This is the homeland of the Wabanaki people. And we have been here, Green Acre has been here since the late 1800s. And we have been very focused on bringing programs and conferences and events and now processes that really focus on the oneness of humanity and bringing us together as one human family and figuring out how to translate Baha'i teachings, such as the oneness of humanity, into practical action. And tonight, we are very, very blessed to have with us all of you, because we wouldn't have all of you if we were in person. But we're lucky, you know, like one of the silver linings of this pandemic is we can be together from all over the world. And so we are very grateful that you are all here. We also have with us three wonderful musicians. We have Emiliano Morondos, we have Laila Murphy, and we have Orona. And I will properly introduce them in a little bit here. And it's good to see all of your faces as well. Just a tiny bit of Zoom protocol, housekeeping. So far, everybody's doing a great job just keeping yourselves on mute. You can have your camera on or off. It's nice when it's on because we get to see your beautiful faces and we feel a bit more connected with you. This evening, we will actually break out. We will be in breakout groups later in the evening, and you will have a chance to talk with the artist who's in your room, and you will actually be discussing together some things that we're going to talk about in a little bit here. But first, I'm going to hand this over to my co-worker, Ed Phillips. He is graciously co-hosting with me this evening. He's one of our facilities guys here at Green Acre, and also, I want to give a shout out to Robert Sapiro, who is our administrator. He's running the tech in the background. So thank you very much, Robert. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Ed.
Hi, everyone. What a wonderful, wonderful gathering. I've seen everybody popping in was exciting. I'm here on behalf of the Green Acre Art Committee. They asked me to be connected to this Zoom arena right now as part of the committee members, just to give everybody a very warm welcome and to appreciate very deeply express from our committee the participation of our artists that are going to be here tonight too. All three of them, we're just so excited to have them as part of this. So we're very deeply touched that they're willing to do this. I'm going to start with the quote that we started this whole promotion for this and bringing everyone together. And it comes from Baha'u'llah, the founder of the Baha'i faith. And he says, "We made music a ladder by which souls may ascend to the realm on high." And a real quick story to share with you on that. I'm preparing myself for today. I wanted to immerse myself in music. So I started with the radio first thing in the morning, just put it on, and a DJ came on and said how much she is in the radio business because she has a love and passion for music. First thing out of her mouth. Love and passion for music. She went on to explain it. And then she put on a song, Elton John, Rocket Man. I know everybody knows that song. In fact, it was the song that came out when I was heading into high school. So I know it well, and I thought about it all day. And I'm sure all of us has had something like that happen, where a song hits you first thing and it's stuck with you all day long. I was even playing it up to coming in tonight. So that's a good example of how music lifted my soul today and kept me up there all day long. So I just really wanted to share that, how important that was for me to be a part of this evening tonight too. So one of the things that the art committee members are learning as we continue this arena of service within the committee is by participating on this committee, we're learning that we can do this, cannot do this alone. Jessica just tapped on that a little bit. We're so grateful that all of you are here and all the collaborations that we've had. We need you all, including the artists, as well as all you participating. Because what we're doing in the art committee is we're opening up these spaces for dialogue. That's why what Jessica just mentioned, the opportunity to be in a breakout room coming up, and we'll get more into that later. This is what this space is all about. Present something for you and then dialogue on it. That's what we're doing with the art shows that we're doing. We're given the opportunity to raise the bar, not only of the artists that are coming in and participating, but also of those that are participating in the dialogue spaces. That's why we're doing what we're doing. With this show, current one that we have, Just Diverse United, the Destiny of America, I've got to share that we've had 39 artists answer the call. And we had 64 dazzling and creative art pieces that are currently online. If you haven't had a chance to go look at them, they're online at the Green Acre website. And that is itself, that's how uplifting this is for us, to send out a call and then have all this return. What a phenomenal thing that we're experiencing. Now, the role of the arts is essential, we feel, as part of the committee, in giving hope and connecting our minds and hearts to a vision of the oneness of humanity, and also exploring and understand just relationships and achieving freedom from racial prejudices. We have called upon artists to create art that illuminates these visions of just, diverse, and unity of hope at this time in American society. The answers came in, the call was answered. And again, check us out online if you haven't. When I say the role of the arts as a committee, we put great efforts to reach out to all artists, to wish to them and give them the opportunity to express their skills and talents in all forms of arts. I mean, in the show that we just have, we have visual arts, we have textile art, we have poetry, we have spoken word, we have visual, audio and visual. It's a phenomenal outreach and the answer that came in. So we as a committee are very excited about that. Again, to help lay out a little bit of the evening, we're going to turn the screen over to our talented artists here in a few minutes. And we've had time set aside for you to talk with them in these breakout groups, as Jessica mentioned. And also they're going to share a little bit before that of how music has given them the opportunity to reach out and create those relationships. And when you're in the breakout rooms, we're going to talk about the elements of those conversations. What are some of the elements to adjust relationships with individuals and institutions? And why is it important to establish these relationships? So as we enter the breakout rooms, you'll get the chance to even dialogue more on that. Before I pass the mic back to Jessica, I'm going to say this as a reminder to, again, the same words that came from the prophet founder of the Baha'i faith, Baha'u'llah, on how music can affect each one of us as a ladder of social ascent. And I quote, "We have made music a ladder by which souls may ascend to the realm on high." Thank you for giving me the chance to say this. Jessica?
Thanks, Ed. So as Ed said, this is a discourse space that is connected to Green Acre's current online art show called Just Diverse United, the Destiny of America. We will be having at least three more discourse spaces after this in the months to come about different art forms. Tonight is focused on music. And our art show, Just Diverse United, and the concept that we are really focusing on this evening, which is just relationships, all those ideas are taken from the July 22nd message written by the governing Baha'i Council of the world, the Universal House of Justice, to the Baha'is of the United States. And on July 22nd, they wrote us this message. They said, "This is a moment of historic portent," meaning this is important. This moment, you all can make a change if you choose to. And so we're going to, I'm going to read a paragraph from that message in which it talks about the just relationships, because when we break out into smaller groups, that's what we're gonna be asking questions about this particular paragraph. So Robert, if you could share that so I can read it. Hopefully you can all see the screen. Okay. So on July 22nd, to the Baha'is of the United States, the Universal House of Justice said, "Racism is a profound deviation from the standard of true morality. It deprives a portion of humanity of the opportunity to cultivate and express the full range of their capability and to live a meaningful and flourishing life, while blighting the progress of the rest of humankind. It cannot be rooted out by contest and conflict. It must be supplanted by the establishment of just relationships among individuals, communities, and institutions of society that uplift all and will not designate anyone as other. The change required is not merely social and economic, but above all, moral and spiritual. So I want you all, while you're here listening to the artists share this evening, which we're about to get into, I want you to be thinking about this concept of just relationships. It's saying that racism cannot be rooted out through contest and conflict. It has to be supplanted by just relationships. So what does that mean? And that's where we're going to be exploring how music plays a role in that this evening. Okay, so enough of me talking about all that. I would now like to introduce our wonderful artists here. First up, we have Mr. Roman Orona, Apache, Pueblo, and Yaqui. He is a Native American performer, producer, director, podcaster, and owner of I Am Human Media. I Am Human Media is a national nonprofit that develops programs to address social discourse, create community, and unite humanity through the arts. In 2016, Roman was awarded the Best Male Vocalist Award at the Native American Music Awards for his album, Circling Spirits. Roman also hosts a weekly podcast called the Indigenous Cafe Podcast, playing Indigenous music and discussing virtues from around the world. For more information about Roman, please check out his website, romanorona.com. We've put that in the chat, and iamhumanmedia.com. That's also in the chat. So I'm introducing all three artists in a row. Then they are going to share their music back to back. So now you're going to hear from Roman, but first I want to introduce Laila and then Emil, and then all three of them will perform. So next on the docket, we've got Laila Murphy. She's a professional musician living in Portland, Oregon with her husband and 3 children. She's a member of the Baha'i faith and has always used music as a way to connect to people's spirits and hearts. Laila has played flute with the Oregon Symphony Orchestra, Portland Opera, and many pit orchestras. As a musical theater performer, she has been in numerous productions in the Northwest. She believes that the arts are a huge unifying force and can be used to promote justice, cause change, and create awareness of what the world needs. She is a graduate of Northwestern University, and you can check her out at lailamurphy.com. That's also in the chat. And last but certainly not least is my brother from another mother, Emiliano Morondos. He's a Phoenix-based MC, artist, producer, audio engineer, music extravaganzaist, and youth development professional who organizes and facilitates multiple arts-based empowerment programs for youth and adults throughout the country. He has 20+ years of creating and performing fresh, challenging, Baha'i-inspired hip-hop. And you can check out his music. We've put a link in the chat where you can actually go and purchase his music as well. So without further ado, I'm going to finally pass the mic over to the reason why you were here this evening, which is our wonderful musicians. We're going to start with Roman, then go straight to Laila and to Emiliano. Thank you so much.
Yanna heya edo, oh heya edo, oh heya edo, oh Yanna heya edo, oh heya edo, oh heya edo, oh Yanna heya edo, oh heya edo, oh heya edo, oh Yanna heya edo, oh heya edo, oh heya edo. Blessed is the spot and the house and the place and the city and the heart and the mountains and the refuge refuge, and the cave, and the valley, and the land, and the sea, and the island, and the meadow where mention of God hath been made, and his praise glorified. Yanna heya edo, oh heya edo, oh heya edo, yanna heya edo, oh heya edo, oh heya edo, yanna heya edo, oh heya edo, oh heya edo, yanna heya edo, oh heya edo, oh heya edo. Blessed is the spot and the house and the place and the city and the heart and the mountains and the refuge and the cave and the valley and the land and the sea and the island and the meadow where mention of God hath been made, and his praise glorified. Yanna heya edo, oh heya edo, oh heya edo, yanna heya edo, oh heya edo, oh heya edo, yanna heya edo, oh heya edo, oh heya edo.
Go out and tell our story. Let it echo far and wide. Make them hear you. Make them hear you. How justice was our battle and how justice was denied. Make them hear you. Make them hear you. And say to those who blame us for the way we chose to fight, that sometimes there are battles which are more than black and white. And I could not put down my sword when justice was my right. Make them hear you. Make them hear you. Go out and tell the story. Tell your daughters and your sons. Make them hear you. Make them hear you. And tell them of our struggle. We were not the only ones. Make them hear you. Make them hear you. Your sword can be a sermon or the power of a pen. Teach every child to raise his voice and then my brothers then. Will justice be demanded by 10 million righteous men? Make them hear you. When they hear you, I'll be near you again.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Emiliano, giving you a shout out from Autumn Territory here in Phoenix, Arizona. I got 2 short selections for you, and I'm excited. Many of you already know this, but the purpose of justice is to bring forth the appearance of unity. And so today, for my performance, I'm going to share a little taste of what the appearance of unity set looks like. So, but that means you got to work with justice, right? Y'all got to step up, and when you're out in the streets and the communities, we have to bring forth justice. So what I want to do is just blow up the chat box right now. So here's an opportunity for you to give recognition to each other, to see each other. When I do this in a live performance, it's an opportunity for us to go around and meet everyone who's there at the venue and just tell them that I see you, that we're here together and being in the same place. So if you can find your chat box or your reactions box and you want to just give some love, or you want to wave from your screen, just shout out your folks and just give love through the internet here. This one is called We Gotta Connect. Here we go. Let me reset. Hold on. Okay, hope that's better. What up to my mom, my daughter, my partner, my wife, everybody out there? We got to connect. Here we go. Hey, we got to connect. Got to find a way to be one with ya. We got to connect. Got to find a way to let the soul hit ya. We got to connect. Got to find a way to be one with ya. We gotta connect, gotta find a way to let the soul hit ya. Circle and sound, eye of the crown, kissing the sky and breathing the ground. Culture is created with a circle and sound, yeah. A circle and sound, might this be it? Mighty legit, the choir is lit, we drumming and shit. Drumming and drumming and drumming, and something is coming, and that don't quit, stay with me. We gotta connect, we gotta find a way to be one with ya. Stay with me, we gotta connect, we gotta find a way to let the soul hit ya. I love the way you move that, roots on the ground, wings on your back, beautiful sound, got the attract, la 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 la, fashion exact, Allah Allah, what y'all with me? World people, one people, my people, tribe of unity, none feeble, fighting this unequal, fight to an old man, like throw hands, hold hands, bold plans with no chance, but oh damn, water to the low man, attracted to the no man, like no man, no man, no man, hold that light, alright, but that all might, hold tight, that remedy, already ahead and we steadily plot the course, of course, going around, moving around, we're coming around with that movement of art, of course, this is that art, we know where to start, got this culture with a circle and sound, say what's up to your folks, y'all, shout out, give waves, give love, so wherever you're at, Green Acre, we appreciate you, big up, yo, we gotta connect, gotta find a way to be one with them. We gotta connect, gotta find a way to let the soul hit ya. We gotta connect, gotta find a way to be one with ya. We gotta connect, gotta find a way to let the soul hit ya. All right, enough of that. Now we gotta go over to the next one and keep it short. Here it comes. This one is called 감사합니다. It means thank you in Korean. And this one goes out to God right here. 감사합니다. I put that on God. 감사합니다. Yeah. I put that on God. 감사합니다. I put that on God. 감사합니다. Yeah, I'm like Don Mahalo, midnight sun and the dawn will follow. Nightingale and a song to swallow. Channel my brother cause the reed is hollow. Freedom follows, feo y bueno y malo. Life in a cage in a bottle. Cruise control and the pilot is Otto. Sometimes all you could do is get blotto. Whew. Thankful for all of this. Wallow in none of this. I am a son of this. Kaja, follow me. I have the run of this. But I'ma do me. Yup. I'ma do diallo. When I have wings to fly, I'm all free to callow. I hope the leaving is joyful. I hope to never return. Obrigado with deeds, not words. Man, I got karma to burn. Mahalo, nui, loa, aloha, tea, kua, muchos gracias para todo to all my relations. Yeah, kamsamnida. I put that on God. Kamsamnida. Yeah. I put that on God. Kamsamnida. I put that on God. Kamsamnida. I put that on God.
Yeah. Thanks, Emil.
Wow, wow, wow. From blessed is the spot to make them hear you. We got to connect. Let's do it. Let's all connect. The way we're going to connect right now is we're going to give these three artists a chance to speak and talk about what they've just given us, the blessing that they just given us, the uplifting that I just got. I had trouble staying in my seat. So this is going to take a few minutes. We're going to give each one in the order that they just presented to us, the opportunity to present what's in their heart, what's on their mind, and have them talk about how the music creates this opportunity for them to look at their relationships and their just relationships. So I'm going to turn the mic right over to Roman and allow you to just take it in the same order, my friends. And thank you so much for sharing what you just did with us. Appreciate it. So please, my friend.
Hello. I thank you again for having me be part of this. Super excited and just honored, blessed. Thank you. For me, when we talk about music and we talk about, well, art, period. One of the things that as a native person, I always think about whenever I'm doing, whether I'm crafting or I'm creating an outfit or I'm singing or I'm doing new music or whatever it is that I'm doing, videos, all of the stuff that I do, I think of Abdu'l-Baha's quote about, and Abdu'l-Baha was the son of the Prophet founder. And he talked about the indigenous peoples of America and the importance of the role that they will play, that if we become educated, that we will enlighten the entire world. And so when I did my first album through Canyon Records, it was a great album. I wanted to do something different in that particular album. I got to do a couple of things. I got to, one, have a song on there that's called Attributes, that talks about the attributes of God. And so I was blessed to have that song on there. And then I was able to have Alawapa on there as well. I then, as I was finishing that album up, and I wanted to have more quotes and more things relating to the Baha'i faith, because as an individual who is of indigenous background, I have an obligation. We all do as people. But I take that quote from Abdu'l-Baha very seriously. And so I then came back into the studio and worked on some new things. And I just released earlier, well, I guess it was the end of last year, a new album called Invocations. And what got me to really move toward this album was a quote that I saw, and I'm going to read it to you, because this is also part of my kind of that guiding light. I mean, all the things as a Baha'i, all the things within the Baha'i faith are my guiding light, but there's some in there that really stick out for me. And I just think that I have an obligation as an indigenous individual to my indigenous peoples, not just within the Americas, but within the world. And that is, speaking of our prophecies that have been fulfilled by the Baha'i faith. And so when I came back into the studio after reading this quote, this is what triggered my latest album called Invocations. And Invocations is the blending of my indigenous music along with the prayers of the Baha'i faith. And that song that I started out with is called Blessings. And that song is on that album. And it's only a digital release. I didn't release it in hard copy. So shameless plug, I apologize. But if anybody wants to see it or hear it, you can get it on all digital platforms. But going to the quote that helped me do this, and it says, "O nightingale of the rose garden of God, singing melodies will bring animation and happiness to the world of humanity. The healers will be delighted and joyful, and their deeper emotions stirred. But this gladness, this sense of emotion is transitory and will be forgotten within a short time. However, praise be to God, thou hast blended thy tunes with thy melodies of the kingdom, will impart solace to the world of the spirit, and wilt everlastingly stimulate spiritual feelings. This will last forever and endure the revelation of ages and centuries." And so with that quote, I have turned into not a completely new direction, but I have turned to putting the word of God in my music as an indigenous person. And a lot of things, as I started doing that, a lot of things started coming to me. And one of the things was about, again, the obligation to teach and the obligation of indigenous peoples to illumine the world. And so I started listening to, and I'm going to quote this because there's no such thing, I think, in my personal opinion, as Baha'i music, but there's Baha'i inspired music, or there's Baha'i artists, right? And so the artists that are Baha'is that are creating what is now called this Baha'i music, there's very little that has or touches the hearts of indigenous peoples. There's not a lot out there. I mean, we have indigenous Baha'is, and they play different instruments, and they do different things. But I have yet to see what I have created, and that's not pumping myself up. I'm just saying that we have to create these relationships so that people will then be able to listen and hear the drum and the melodies and the songs of indigenous peoples being elevated with the Baha'i prayers that are within them. And so that was what Invocations was about. That is what that relationship, those just relationships, is about. I'm a person that, and my parents will be the first ones to tell you that if you put me in a box, I'm going to try to break out of it. I mean, I'm just that kind of person. I hate being contained. I don't like it. I'm sure most people don't, but I'm saying, like, even within myself, I want to challenge, and I in turn want to be challenged. So I'm constantly challenging society and the ills that we face in society. I'm constantly pushing that button. Circling Spirits was pushing that button within the Apache community because it's completely different than what is traditional Apache music. And right off the bat, I got a lot of flack for it, but now people are like, "Oh, I get it." So those are the things that, when we're talking about just relationships as well, for me, it's about being just with myself too, looking within me and being real with me. Because if I can't be real with me, how can I in turn be just and real with other people and push those boundaries? So it's a two-way street. I have to push, but I also have to allow myself to be pushed. And so that's where a lot of the work that I create and a lot of the things that I do are about trying to, one, teach the Baha'i faith as an artist, but also to push society. Because if we are comfortable, we won't change. Why would we want to change if we're comfortable? And as for me as a Baha'i, I don't want to be comfortable. I can't be comfortable. Look at the world around us. We cannot be comfortable anymore as people, period. We have to start having these just relationships. And so to me, that's what my music and the things that I try to create are about. And we can maybe go into some of those things a little bit later, but I think for me, that's the essence of me and my music.
All right, I think I'm next. First of all, Roman, thank you so much for that. That was really, really insightful, and appreciate that. And I learned something from you. Appreciate that. Emiliano, your music was so awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And I see so many faces on here, some that I recognize. And I'm so happy to see people on here and meet new people from around the country. Jessica and Green Acre staff, thanks for having us on here. I'm humbled and yeah, I was trying to think of what I wanted to share when Jessica asked me to be part of this. I'm definitely a trained classical musician, musical theater performer. And so I only learned to really make my own music that wasn't written by anyone else after college. Really, when I was serving at Bosch High School, there was an opportunity to perform there, and I started to let myself improvise on the flute, and now I feel pretty comfortable doing that. But I think what's the perspective I can give tonight is I as I said, I don't write my own music except add flute to people's settings or music to their compositions. But I play Bach, Mozart, I do musical theater. So the piece I sang tonight was from Ragtime, the musical, which is so beautiful. And Make Them Hear You. It's towards the end of the show. And so through my journey, I've had to figure out how to be a Baha'i and have just relationships and do the shows that are written and participate in communities and theater companies that promote racial harmony or all inclusive. So it's interesting, and maybe the other musicians on here and artists can relate. There are lots of opportunities to not be exactly who you want to be, because you're like, well, I should be in that show because it's good for my resume, or that's the only theater company that's here, even though they always cast white people, or, I just need to do it. So I've been tested that way because you have this career that you want to do, and musical theater is an amazing tool to create happiness. Like Ed said, there's Elton John, Rocket Man, like the best. So songs can just be uplifting, shows can be wonderful and fun. And so there are two aspects I want to touch on with the musical theater and the classical music world. One is a story. Because of my curly hair, and I live in Portland, which is a very white city. Oregon's a very white state. I often get cast as like a darker skinned. I'm half Persian, but some people just don't really know, what are you? I get asked a lot. It's fine. I don't mind that question. But a musical theater director of mine said I could pass as African-American, mixed light skinned. And I was excited. It's like, oh, goody. And so I did Showboat with the Portland Opera as in the Black chorus. And I did Showboat at Lakewood Theater as the mixed girl. And I did a show at the Portland Opera I was in the slave chorus. And so I actually felt honored and great about it. And then I had my tables turned a little bit. I went to a talk about diversity in the workplace at this beautiful music center we have in Portland called Ethos Music Center. And the woman who was talking about, we were just talking about race unity and racism and bringing it into the workplace and music schools. I told her, yeah, I said, yeah, I was even in Portland Opera, you know, in the African American chorus. And I guess for some reason I felt pulled to tell that to her. Like, should I have done that? You know, like getting her permission almost. She was a Black woman. And she goes, well, maybe next time, ask the directors before you hire me, see if you can go out and hire someone of color before you hire me. If you can't find anyone, then call me back. And I was like, oh, I should have done that. I should have done that. But it actually has stuck with me. And now that's because of her telling me that and being bold and willing to share that with me. It's given me this outlook. And I'm sure they would have found people, right? I'm sure they would have found people. Portland is full of amazing, beautiful singers that are not white. And so that was just interesting. And also in the musical theater realm, there are beautiful theater companies in Portland Playhouse, for example. Actually, these are all online right now if you guys want to check them out. It's not Portland, Maine, Portland, Oregon, Portland Playhouse and Artist Repertory Theater. They really are very focused on doing works of people, underrepresented communities. And so as I've grown in the last 20 years and done musical theater, I've tried to align myself with companies that are already doing this work. Because as the quote says, racism is a profound deviation from the standard of true morality. It deprives a portion of humanity of the opportunity to cultivate and express their full range of potential. And so these particular companies, I'm proud to say our city is doing a really good job. And so I just try to align myself and be a participant in that, that way. And then another aspect of it, so I think I mentioned Ragtime that I sang, that I performed from. You know, that's a show about Black and white. So Black cast, white cast, it's okay. You audition, you know you're going to be in one or the other. It's not discriminating. You know that's what it's about. But then there's shows like The Sound of Music or The Drowsy Chaperone or Les Mis or Phantom of the Opera. Those can be cast any way. You can have any color. And I think what's been happening, and Broadway is getting better, but the people of color who audition for those rarely have had a chance. I think it's a little bit better now, but so there also is that avenue of musical theater can bring all these people together regardless of their color. Who cares? Then the show is just the show, and you don't have to fit a certain mold. So as an artist, I don't write my music. I'm like jealous of Emiliano and Roman who have these creative genes. I have my grandmother was a composer and my daughter composes, but I sort of lost that gene. I can, as I said, I can improvise on the flute and stuff, but so I have to find ways to insert myself into already existing works that feel like they align with bringing humanity together. And then the classical music world, we just need to bring more opportunity to underserved communities so they have the chance to learn these instruments. So, you know, I don't know how to do that, but I know that's the truth and that's the case. So anyway, I hope that was insightful and give you a little glimpse of classical musician trying to be in the world. So Emiliano, I'll pass it on to you.
Cool. Thank you, Laila. I appreciate it. And also in the same vein as you did, Roman, big respect to you as well. I appreciate being on this panel with you all, and thank you to Green Acre. So I'm gonna plug something real quick because so many of my favorite people are on here today. I'm part of a group called Framework, and it is for Bahá-inspired musicians and collaborators, and we're really trying to bridge the gap in a issue or a place that we see. And so one of the things that Laila said was that a lot of times we have these young Baha'is who aspire to be musicians and they think that they can't do both. They can't be both Baha'i and musician. And so with Framework, a group that was founded by Kareem Rushdie and Ben Good, who's also on the call today, myself, we are working on inspiring young folks and just Baha'i inspired musicians to come together and really build our capacities together. So if you find yourself in that vein where you're an artist, not only a musician, but an artist, and you want to get involved in that, I'm going to put some information in the chat box right now just for you. For myself, though, I want to share that I'm gonna go at things a little bit differently. So I got into hip hop music from graffiti art. I am a graffiti artist. I've been doing graffiti art for over 20 years now. But I really went from terrorizing a community to community building. And I want to show you a little bit of what the capacity that I built through this art medium, which is often reviled and often not appreciated. And so in order to do that, I just want to share this. This is where I'm at today. I am always positioning myself, my music, my volunteerism, my Baha'i and community building activities, my career and youth development, to have a greater sense of cohesion and to be planted for opportunities on elevated discourse. So I'm all about dismantling systems of oppression. My Ruhi study circle, dismantling systems of oppression. My music, dismantling systems of oppression. Conversations, I'm planted to be in a space to have a conversation with you here at Green Acre, dismantling systems of oppression. That is what my heart is about. That is what my love for Baha'u'llah is about. That is what my goal is. And so I'm going to go at it from visual arts. I want to share with you, and this is, I'm going to share a little bit of heart-wrenching stuff. So if you're sensitive, I'm sorry. But the reality is Shoghi Effendi said this. He said, all humanity is disturbed and suffering and confused. We cannot expect to not be disturbed and not to suffer, but we don't have to be confused. On the contrary, confidence and assurance, hope and optimism are our prerogative. So I'm going to share with you some heart-wrenching stuff, and then I'm going to share with you some uplifting things that I've been a part of. So my mom is on the call. Her name is Andrea. I'm loving looking at my house where I grew up. She's in this community called Arivaca, Arizona. And this is about remembering a 9-year-old. Her name is Brisena Flores. And she was murdered in 2009 alongside her father by anti-immigration activists. And this is a quote from the Tucson Weekly about that occurrence. She fell asleep watching television as her parents slept in their bedroom. A few hours later, she opened her eyes to the sight of her father lying on the opposite couch. He had been shot in the chest and was choking on his own blood. Her mother was bleeding on the floor, a gunshot wound to her leg. The little girl was startled and cried out to intruders in her home, "Why did you shoot my mom?" That's from the Tucson Weekly. CNN said, the plan was to raid the home and steal drugs, weapons, and money to fund their anti-immigration group, according to CNN. Reportedly, they thought that the father, Raul, was a drug dealer, but no drugs were found in the home. Again, all humanity is disturbed. This is my hometown. This is where I grew up. And in 2016, we were involved in the movement that a lot of you remember, which is the education is not a crime. And we're educating others about the systemic removal of educational opportunities for Baha'is in Iran. And there are so many examples of that. And so when we had a conversation about a mural we wanted to do in Arivaca, Arizona, we thought, the most painful stealing of an education was actually the stealing of a life. And so we painted a mural for Brisena. And I'm going to show you a video. So I'm going to share the screen. And it's given some uplifting music. Sorry, one second. It's been given some uplifting music because honestly, 6 or 7 years later, we wanted to bring some happiness to the community by honoring this young woman, Brisena. So let me see if this works. Share my screen. There it is. Can you see that?
Out of our ears, telling truth, weaving lies, all the words I cannot hear. Through the silence, make no sound, hide our love deep underground. Cancel plans, a search around. Love is lost and love is found. Growing strong, growing soft, growing daisies in our loft. Picking rooms, painting walls, and the blue tape you tear off. Making tea, making time, making plans beneath the soil. Now the water's out of boil. Share the love before it's spoiled. Ooh, oh, 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 ooh, oh, growing tall, growing out, growing infants like to shout. Paying bills, paying fines, this is not what life's about. Lacking sleep and caffeine, found a penny with my luck. Now the coffee's warming up, pour the love into my cup. Ooh, oh, 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 ooh, oh, growing wise, growing old, doing all the things we're told. Losing sound, losing sight, reading all our books and old. Longer skirts, ancient things, and the people we once knew. Come close now, our time is through. Come closer, let me love you.
So that was just a video of our experience, and that was in 2016. Thank you. And you know, as we go along, we're here in 2020, and what a year 2020 was. Or I guess we're a year past now, but I'm always involved in things similar to this. And in 2020, in response to the murder of George Floyd, some friends of mine started a movement called Love Fights Back. And I had an opportunity to organize with them and bring a mural to my Boys and Girls Club where I work. I'm the branch executive there in the Gila River Indian community, working with Akmal Atam and Maricopa Peepash youth. And I had the opportunity to bring this mural to the community. And I just want to show you it real quick. And it's just a couple pictures. There I am. So yeah, beautiful sunset in Arizona, and it's just the whole wall of this teen center. But here's the big one. We have two rattles being held in two fists, representing the Black, Indigenous, immigrant unity of the communities, and focusing on turmoil that's happening in this Indigenous community with where the youth of the Akmal Atam and the Maricopa Peepash peoples have often been at odds, and gang violence has really caused turmoil in the community. So the rattles that you see on the left side, which is blue, that is a Akmal Atam rattle, and then on the right side, it is a Maricopa Peepash rattle. And essentially, this is to represent unity among the communities in the space that we hold at the Boys and Girls Club. So this mural is called The Shaking of the Fists, and done by my friends at Love Fights Back. So again, I shared at the beginning that my movement, or what I'm doing, is always positioning myself, my music, my volunteerism, my Bahá and community building activities, and my career to bring forth a greater sense of cohesion and plant myself for opportunities of elevated discourse. So with murals, and my music, I'm really in a great place to be able to have those conversations. And I thank you for the opportunity to be here and have this conversation with you as well.
Thank you so much, Emiliano. Thank you, Laila. Thank you, Roman. That's why we asked y'all here. So now, y'all, we are gonna break up into 3 smaller groups. There will be an artist in each group who will be facilitating a small group conversation. In the group, you will automatically be sent into a breakout group. If you've never experienced that before in Zoom, there's nothing you have to do. It'll automatically happen. We are going to be looking at that 4th paragraph from the message from the House of Justice. I am putting a link to that message. I put a link in the chat just now. If you know how to access that, you just take your cursor, go down to the bottom of your screen. There will be an icon that says chat. Click on that. You should see a link that I just posted in there. If you click on that, that'll take you to the message from the House of Justice. We're going to be talking about the 4th paragraph, which is the paragraph where it says that basically racism can't be rooted out by contest and conflict. It must be supplanted by the establishment of just relationships. I'm also going to put some, your facilitator, who's one of the musicians, has some questions that they may ask you in order to facilitate dialogue with the group. If you want to ask them some questions about how they use music to establish just relationships or to create just relationships, that's okay. You can do that. It's your breakout group, but we do want to spend that time talking together about what are just relationships? What does that mean? How do we do that? Just exploring it and unpacking it together. You'll have about 20 minutes in your breakout group. Then you will automatically be, by magic, pulled back to this main group. And then we will have a closing session, which will be a bit more music and just a thank you, and we'll wrap it up for the evening. Sound good? Okay. Welcome back, everyone.
Yes.
I hope you got something out of that and had a chance to stretch your conversation muscles around.
We had so much more to say. So
I'm
just
sure-
FYI.
It sounds like a part 2.
Part 2, yeah.
Yeah, part 2. So I feel bad. I was in, I hopped around to a few of the different rooms, and there was good conversation going, and I was thinking, and I wish we had more time to do this. And so this is one of our first online conversation spaces where we've had breakout groups. So I'm learning a lot. So thanks to all of you for helping Green Acre learn how to do it even better next time. Appreciate that. So we are going to start wrapping up this evening. And Laila, are you up for playing a piece with your flute? Do you want? Okay, so we're gonna have Laila play a piece for us, and then I think Emil is gonna do another little something. But I don't want to leave Roman out. Roman, do you want to do something else? Or you do? Okay. Okay, sweet. So maybe we'll go Laila, Emil, Roman. We've got 8 minutes, so it's all you.
All right. There were some flute players in my group, so I teach lessons. You guys can give me a call. It's never too late to start back up. You will be happy you did.
LailaMurphy.com. LailaMurphy.com.
Yeah, just it's so wonderful to play and create, even if it's like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? Okay, anyway.
think I'll read a little something in a poetic fashion. It's the verse I wrote called Doomsday. And it goes like this. Challengers always go first. 7-2 smoke, man, NASA on broke. 86th, Ron McNair player. Read a big book, y'all. Say a little prayer. All this smoke going up on a doomsday, sending smoke signals. Hey, Victor, what do you say? Flaming ash for that ass. Grab your passports and cash. Ready for the crash. Act Daz on the dash. America KKK is foreign as a dream. If you state, better get your vaccines. All men suffer sorrow, illness, and pain. Rise above through spirit, man, that's gain. No matter what our minds and our bodies go through, even prophets of God, y'all, they were not immune. The troubles of the world pass as time unfolds, and what we have left is what we've made of our souls.
I guess I'll wrap it up here. Thank you again to all of you and Laila and Emiliano. It's always a pleasure to be with you guys. So thank you. This is also off of the Invocations album. Yahweh, oh, hey, Yahweh, oh, hey, hey, Yahweh, oh, hey, Yahweh, oh, hey, God is sufficient unto me, verily, He is the all-sufficing, hey, in Him let the trusting trust. In Him let the trusting trust. Yahweh, oh, hey, Yahweh, oh, hey, hey, Yahweh, oh, hey, hey, Yahweh, oh, hey.
Thank you all so very much. It was a great way of wrapping up the evening. It's been an honor to be here with all of you, an honor to witness the art and the work of our three fabulous musicians. Thank you again for being with us. I hope you all got something out of this. We're going to continue to have these discourse spaces, these conversation spaces that are centered around our art shows, which are centered around these concepts of justice and unity and diversity, creating a better world, seeing us all as one people. The next discourse space will be February 20th. I was hoping it would be up on our website, but it's not up there yet, but it will be up there ASAP. I've put a link in our chat where you can find that. And you can always just go to greenacre.org, click on events, and you'll see what's coming up next. We hope that you'll register. We hope to see you there. February 20th will be focused on the visual arts and how the visual arts help us to create a just, diverse, and united society, or how they can. And so we'll be exploring that together, again, having a conversation space. So I wish you all a beautiful evening. Ed, is there anything that you wanted to say before we wrap up?
Just a very quick on behalf of the entire art committee, to each of you that participated in the breakout rooms, and especially our three wonderful, wonderful talented artists. We are so grateful. We're not in this alone. We're on this all together. The unity of a night like this goes far beyond these boxes that we're in, goes far beyond. My brothers and sisters I just met tonight. I haven't had a chance to talk to you. Jessica did all the communication. You're in my heart, all of you. So thank you all.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Gwitch, have a beautiful evening. We will see you next time. Take care. Thank you.